Hi guys, welcome back to my channel and welcome if you are new. Without further ado, let's go ahead and get straight into today's video. So it is a beautiful Monday afternoon and the sun is shining. It's nice and warm outside. And instead of going outside and enjoying the weather, I figured it'd be a great time to do some nails. So for today, I think I actually want to do something more on the earthy, like rusty colored side. So there's going to be a lot of natural earthy tones and I'm really excited to do this nail set because I've actually seen it quite a while ago. I've been looking at this nail set for quite some time on Pinterest and I think today is the day. So yeah, let's go ahead and get straight into it. Oh, and also a little disclaimer, we are starting this nail set at roughly 1:40 p.m. And I guess we're gonna see how long this takes. Now for today, I think I wanna do either polygel or GelX nails. And if you read the title, you already know what I did, but I don't know yet. I'm thinking of doing polygel because I really wanna get some practice with it, but I'm also thinking of doing GelX because it's more simple and laid back and I don't really feel like doing too much with the extensions. So yeah, I don't know, I might just do GelX today. But before we do any of that, I'm gonna go ahead and start prepping my nails. As you can see, they are quite crusty and I need to cut them all even because unfortunately my pointer finger broke and now it just looks really odd. So I'm just gonna start by cutting down the excess growth. This is so sad. As you guys know, I'm always trying to grow out my nails and it just never works. Like I'm always like, I don't know. I think maybe I jinxed myself, but I literally I can't grow out my nails for some reason. Like one of them always ends up breaking and I have to cut them all even because it looks weird. Okay, so next I'm gonna take my 80/80 grit nail file and just file everything nice and even. Next, I'm gonna go ahead and push back my cuticles using my cuticle pusher. And I'm just gonna take the opposite end to scrape out any of that excess cuticle. Next, I'm gonna go ahead and start clipping back my cuticles using my cuticle nippers. And for this part, I'm making sure not to cut too much because I really don't want to start cutting at my actual skin. I'm really just targeting the areas that are white and crusty. Next, I'm gonna take this ball bit just to help smooth out the cuticle areas a little bit. Okay, so this is all the prep work that I'm gonna do for today. I'm going to very quickly put on my peel off base coat and I will come right back. So my peel off base coat is fully applied and I already went ahead and sized out all of my nail tips for today. So I did decide that I'm going to be doing some GelX nails. So to cure these on, I'm gonna be using some of the nail glue that you use for these types of tips. Now the first thing I have to do is actually scuff the inside of these nail tips because these aren't actually GelX. These are just full cover nail tips, but I do like using them for this method because I feel like they have a really good apex. But with that being said, they aren't like scuffed up in the area where you have to cure it on. So I kind of have to do it manually. And if I use acetone, it's not gonna work for these. So yeah, I'm not even gonna try that. So I'm gonna take this little bit here just to scuff up the inside. So I'm gonna take the nail tip and I'm only gonna scuff the area that's being applied to my nail. So probably only to about here. And I really like doing this because I feel like it prevents these tips from lifting up, because the inside surface is super shiny, meaning that it probably won't stick too well because there's no friction. So this is just gonna help prevent them from like popping off. So I'm gonna get rid of the dust. And yeah, I think that's a pretty good surface area that I covered. Now I'm gonna take this nail glue that I have and we're just going to apply it to the inside of the nail tip. So I'm first just going to paint this on to the area that I scuffed up. And I'm not applying too much because I really don't want this to flood. So let's just place this to the side for now. And now I'm also just going to paint the surface of the nail. Again, I'm not adding too much, just a little bit. Now, before I put the nail on, I have this little like lamp thing that I'm gonna be using to cure these on. So let me turn that on first. So I'm just going to glide this down the nail first, just to make sure that there's enough slip. And I'm not gonna go all the way at the cuticle area for now. I'm just going to go probably to about here. So I'm gonna take the tip, press down nice and firm, and work my way all the way down the nail until everything is nice and full like that. And then I'm gonna go ahead and throw this under. Okay, and I'm just gonna repeat the process. So I'm first going to scuff up the inside of the nail tip. Then I'm gonna dust out the inside and just make sure that I scuffed up enough. And I just realized that I'm using the wrong size. Okay, so this is definitely the right size for my middle finger. Okay, that looks pretty good. Now I'm gonna paint the inside of the tip using this nail glue. Place that down, and then I'm gonna do the same thing on my nail, making sure not to over flood and add too much. Now before I cure this on, I'm gonna go ahead and turn my lamp on, and I'm starting slightly above my cuticle area, and I'm gonna press down nice and firm until the gel spreads onto the entire nail, just like this. And then I'm gonna go ahead and cure. Okay, so unfortunately, my pinky nail is super crooked, so I kind of have to do this one over. So yeah, let me try this one more time. Okay, I think this looks slightly better. It's not perfectly straight, but to be honest, it's good enough. Okay, so the tips are all on, and now the next thing I'm gonna do is actually just file this line of like demarcation here. I really wanna make sure that this area is nice and seamless with my cuticle because I'm actually gonna be filling this in a little bit later. So I'm gonna be using a carbide bit to do that, and I'm probably gonna use this on about 6,000 to 7,000 RPMs. I don't wanna use anything that's too fast, so I'm just focusing on this ledge that's created by the nail tip, and I'm being careful not to file away at my peel off base coat underneath it. Okay, so now I'm gonna go back to this gel, I think, and I'm gonna use this gel to just paint over the entire nail. And I'm making sure to also get close to my cuticle area as well. Okay, so I added the base gel to the entire nail, and this is what they are looking like. Now, the method that I use for GelX nails is not set in stone, and to be honest, when I do GelX nails, I kind of just like to experiment with different things. So if I'm not doing a good job, please do not come for me. I don't really know much about GelX and I'm still learning. So yeah, just wanted to mention that. The next thing I'm gonna do is get rid of the sticky layer on all of the nails. And next I'm gonna go ahead and cut these down using some tip cutters. And I'm really just gonna cut these down to the length of my pinky because this is the shortest one. First, I think I just wanna get rid of the number. And next, I'm just gonna go ahead and shape up the free edge using my nail file. And I think I'm also going to try and take in the sides a little bit because as you can see, they are like coffin shaped. And I'm not the biggest coffin nail type of girl, so we're gonna try and fix that a little bit. Okay, so here is the difference. As you can see, it's definitely a lot more square. So I'm just gonna do the same thing to the rest of my nails. Next, I'm going to take a mini buffer just to remove the shine from the surface of the nails. Okay, so the extensions are done and this is what they are looking like so far. So now we're gonna go ahead and get straight into today's nail art. As for the reference photo, this is the nail set that I'm doing. And like I said, I've had my eye on this nail set for quite some time. So we are finally gonna go ahead and tackle it today. Before we do that, I'm just going to remove the excess oil and dust from my nails using a little bit of alcohol. Okay, so before we get into it, let me show you everything that I'm going to be using for this nail set. Okay, so first I have an assortment of some gel polish colors. So I have a red, a cream color, yellow, and a neon orange. I have a brown, a mint green, a white, and I also have a rusty orange. And lastly, I just have some black as well. Some of these colors are going to be mixed together, which is why there is so many. But if you have the exact colors that are in the reference photo, you probably won't have to worry about doing that. Next, I have some matte top coat as well as some regular top coat. I have some of this solid nail glue gel and a little bit of rhinestone glue. And lastly, some gold chrome powder. All right, so that's everything. Let's get into it. So I'm first just going to start mixing out some of these colors onto my mixing plate. And also, just in case you were wondering, I use a lot of the same nail colors in my videos. I try to keep most of my colors to a minimum because I use gel polishes that aren't necessarily available on like Amazon. And these gel polishes in particular are quite expensive. So I try to use a good collection of gel polishes. So that way I'm not like constantly advertising a new gel polish. And yeah, it just becomes a bit much. And also because I just don't find it necessary to use 30,000 gel polish colors when you can easily just mix them to get the right color that you need. And a lot of these colors, of course, you can find in different brands, but I do like to leave exactly what I'm using in my description box as always, just so that you can be sure that the colors are the same, the quality is the same, etc. Okay, so these are the colors I'm going to be using for now. I may actually mix more colors a little bit later, but I kind of want to stick to these for now. Okay, so I'm first going to start out with these 3 fingers here. These are going to be full painted nails, so let's go ahead and get that out of the way first. So my pointer finger is going to be painted in this bright yellow, and I'm making sure to get this pretty close to my cuticle area. Next, my middle finger is going to be painted in this cream color. And lastly, my ring finger is going to be painted using this rust color here. And I did want this to be kind of sheer, so I did mix in a little bit of top coat. And you know what? I guess while I'm here, I'll also do my thumbnail. And my thumbnail is going to be fully mint green. And I'm not concerned with getting too close to my cuticle area on this nail because we're going to be bordering it in another color anyway. So it doesn't really matter like how close this is to the edge. And before I cure this, I'm going to go ahead and wipe down the sides. And I'm going to cure these for about 30 seconds. All right, and now I'm just going in with a second layer for all of these colors. Okay, so now we're gonna go ahead and focus on these 2 airbrush nails. So for my pointer finger, it's gonna be airbrushed with this red color, and for my thumbnail, it's gonna be airbrushed with the white. Now in my last video, I did do the airbrush, and of course, as always, I used my fan brush. And someone actually mentioned in that video that I should try the blooming gel method. Now I have tried this in the past before, but I honestly feel like it's even more tedious for me. I don't know if it's because I'm used to this method, but I'm not really a fan of creating the airbrush effect using blooming gel. I don't know. I don't really like it. Okay, so I'm first just going to pick up the tiniest bit of gel polish onto one side of my airbrush, and I'm gonna start stippling it into this one corner here and diagonally here. Okay, so this is the first layer. As you can see, it's very sheer, so we're gonna have to do this in multiple layers. But for now, I'm gonna move on to my thumbnail. And this one's pretty straightforward. It's just a simple airbrush effect in the center using this white gel polish. Okay, and before I move on, I'm gonna go ahead and flash cure these 2 nails. Okay, and now we're gonna go ahead and keep adding layers until we have a good transparency to work with. So let's go ahead and speed through this and I will come back. Okay, so the airbrush for those two nails are done, and now I'm gonna jump back to my ring finger. This nail is pretty straightforward. It's just gonna be a mint green French tip. So for this, I'm gonna be using a pretty long liner brush. And if you are like having a hard time with French tips, I definitely recommend using something that is pretty long. That's because it's gonna be a lot easier to get nice and smooth lines. The brushes that I am using for today, I will make sure to have them linked in my description box. Okay, so for this French tip, I think I'm gonna make it kind of deep. I think to there is pretty okay. And now I'm gonna go up on either side of the nail. And I'm gonna create a nice curve in the middle. Next, I'm just gonna go ahead and fill in the tip of the nail using the same color. And before I fill it in, I just always like to use my liner brush just to get into any nooks and crannies. Now before I cure this, I'm gonna wipe down the sides and just make sure I'm maintaining my shape. And I'm gonna cure this for about 30 seconds. Okay, so now we're gonna jump to our middle finger, and this one has the blooming gel effect. And I'm a little nervous because I just feel like I'm really bad at blooming gel. Like I always have to do it again and again and again to get it right. So we're just gonna see what happens today. So the first thing I'm gonna do is open up my blooming gel, of course. And I'm gonna paint a very thin layer of blooming gel onto the entire surface of the nail. And I'm making sure not to put too much because I really don't want this to start flooding too much on the sides. Okay. All right, we're off to a good start. Now I'm gonna take this color here, I think. Okay, and I kind of have to like mix a color for this brown underneath because I don't have that right color. Okay, I think this is a pretty okay brown. Okay, so now I'm gonna take this short liner brush and I'm just going to get some of this color onto my nail. Okay, so I'm just going to add this color in little stripes like this. And I'm really trying not to add too much because I know it'll kind of spread on its own. Okay, so I think it's safe to say that this looks terrible. I'm going to start again. So let's just try again. See, this is what I'm talking about. Like I always have to do it over because it looks bad. Okay, thin layer of blooming gel once again. And I think this time maybe I'll try and use a dotting tool instead of the brush. All right, so we're trying again. Okay, let me try and figure out this nail and I will come back. I think we're getting somewhere. I think this is okay. So before I cure this, I'm gonna wipe down the sides, make sure nothing is slipping too much. And I'm gonna go ahead and cure this for a full 30 seconds. Okay, and unfortunately, I have to do the same thing, but with this yellow here. So I have to struggle again to do this blooming gel nail. So I'm gonna go over the entire nail again with another layer of blooming gel. And I actually think I wanna mix this yellow with this cream color because I think the yellow is a little bit too yellow. Now I'm gonna put this yellow in the center of these pieces. Okay, I think maybe this is good enough, so I'm gonna wipe down the sides and cure this, and we'll come back. So one thing I noticed about this nail just now is that it has some blue iridescent chrome powder on it. So I'm gonna take the chrome powder from this palette and I'm gonna be rubbing it onto this nail only. But first I'm gonna go over this nail with a layer of top coat, and I have learned my lesson. It has to be top coat in order for it to like actually work properly. So definitely do not use base coat or anything else really, because it's not gonna look right. It's gonna look really grainy and it's pretty much gonna cover up the entire design. Also, I'm making sure that this layer is super thin. And before I cure, I'm gonna wipe down the sides. I'm curing this for a full 60 seconds. Okay, so now I'm going in with this blue chrome powder and I'm just gonna rub this on top of the entire nail, and hopefully this isn't too like yellow. Oh, that's actually nice. Okay, this is actually kind of nice. I love that. That's so good. It's a good thing that the base of these nails is a cream color, because if it was white, these are definitely going to yellow real bad and it's just not going to be cute. Okay, so I have a few more bits of the gel polish application to do left. Okay, so I'm thinking I want to go back to my ring finger, and if it seems like I'm all over the place, it's because I am, and I don't really like focusing on one nail at a time because it just, I don't know, I feel like it overwhelms me. So I try to do everything in layers. So I'm working on getting all of the gel polish done, and then I'm gonna move on to the add-ons and stuff later, like the chrome and everything else. So the last thing I have to do is create some circles on the French tip area of this nail. Okay, so I'm taking my medium line art brush and I'm just gonna start to create some circles on this nail. And these are gonna be open circles, so I really have to take my time with this. Okay, so my camera accidentally died. So these are the circles. They're not perfect, but they're done. So yeah, so now we're gonna draw a little white star in the corner of this nail. But before we do that, I think I actually wanna go over both my pointer finger and my thumbnail with a layer of base coat. You know what, actually for this nail, I'm gonna go over this with a layer of matte top coat along with my middle finger as well, because these two nails are gonna have some chrome and I wanna make sure that the chrome is isolated in the area that I draw it on. Okay, so I'm going over the entire nail with this layer of matte top coat. And before I cure, I'm just gonna wipe down the sides, and I'm curing this for a full 60 seconds. Okay, and now I'm gonna draw the little white star on this nail. Okay, so the first thing I'm gonna do is make a small tiny dot where I'm gonna put the center of the star. And now I'm gonna take a really long line art brush to draw 8 sides of this star. Okay, and before I move on, sorry, I'm all over the place. I'm gonna jump to my thumbnail. Now, similarly to the other two nails I just did, I'm gonna top coat this one, or actually no, I'm gonna put a layer of base coat on this one. And the reason I'm going over this with base coat is because the airbrush method that I use creates a ton of texture, and I am gonna have to do some line art on this nail, so I wanna make sure that the surface is nice and smooth. Okay, and I'm curing this for about 30 seconds. So the first thing I'm gonna do on this nail is create a nice border on it. And this part's pretty straightforward. I'm just gonna go around this entire nail using this really dark rusty color. Okay, so now I'm gonna go ahead and split this into 3 different sections, and you want these lines to be kind of thin, so don't go too crazy. I'm gonna create a tiny dash right about here and another tiny dash about there. I'm gonna bring this all the way to one side of my nail, and as you can see, I'm moving pretty slow because I want these lines to be perfect. Okay, and now I'm going to round out the edges. Now, when I'm rounding out this corner, I'm not going to round it out as much as this one because this one is a little bit more subtle in the reference photo. So instead of making it super curved like that, I'm only making it slightly curved. So just like this. So the section at the very tip of the nail is really curved and it comes in quite a bit, kind of like a V shape almost. So before curing, I'm gonna wipe down the sides just a little bit, and I'm curing this for about 30 seconds. Okay, so we are coming along very nicely. So now we're gonna finally jump onto our pinky nail, and the first thing we're gonna do is create a nice texture on this nail. Now, I originally took out the solid nail glue, but I don't really feel like messing with that today. So I think I'm just gonna use some rhinestone glue instead. So what I'm gonna do is create some swirls and like lumps and bumps on this nail. So I'm just going to randomly create some swirls on this nail. And I'm gonna do this in sections and cure in between each section. So I'm also flipping it upside down so that I can have a nice 3D effect. Okay, so now we're finally ready to get into the chrome. So the first thing I'm gonna do is actually make a mix of top coat and black gel polish. I've noticed that you don't really need the black gel polish, to be honest, because on its own, top coat does a really good job at getting that nice sheen. However, if you don't use it, it'll definitely be very see-through. Okay, so for my pointer finger, it's gonna be pretty straightforward. I'm really just gonna make a thick section at my cuticle area. So I'm gonna take this mix and I'm going to create a nice section here at the top. And I'm gonna curve it around my cuticle area. And then I'm just gonna fill this entire top section. And for this nail, it's gonna be a border similar to this nail, except there's gonna be like waves coming into the center. It's kind of strange. So I'm first gonna create a nice thin border around this nail. And now I'm creating some wavy pieces that make it towards the center of the nail. Okay, and I'm gonna go ahead and cure these two for about 30 seconds. So I'm first gonna do my middle finger, and the middle finger is actually a silver chrome. So I'm gonna take the smallest amount and I'm just going to hope that this comes out nice. I'm gonna be using some gold chrome powder for my thumbnail. And as you can see, I'm really not using much. I'm trying to use as little as possible because 1, I don't want this to spread too much, and 2, I don't really feel like it's necessary to use a whole bunch. Okay, and lastly, I'm gonna do the chrome on my pinky nail. I'm gonna paint the entire surface of this nail in this jelly black. And I'm finishing off this nail with the gold chrome powder. Okay, and before I go in with top coat, I'm gonna finish these off with some like bulbs in the center of these circles. And I'm also gonna add some bubbles to my index finger as well as my thumb. So I'm just gonna take the blooming gel and fill in these little circles. Okay, and this is all of the nail art 100% done. So the last thing I'm gonna do is finish this off with a layer of top coat. So as you guys saw, I actually didn't top coat this nail because I had to redo the chrome because it was just too messy. So I went ahead and with a second layer after wiping all of the chrome and extra dust off. And this is what it's looking like along with the rest of these nails. And I love this nail set. It's very different. It didn't come out exactly the way I envisioned, but I still really love it, especially my thumbnail. Like, I don't know what it is, but this nail is so cool to me. Okay, so the last thing I'm gonna do is finish off this nail set with a little bit of cuticle oil. And that completes today's set. I really do hope you guys enjoyed this one. This nail set is definitely a little bit out of my comfort zone, and even though it didn't come out exactly the way I wanted it, I really love how unique and just different this nail set is. And I really wanted to give this a go because I really love the earthy and like rusty tones in this nail set along with the gold and silver. And although it doesn't look as good as the reference photo, I definitely think that it was worth the shot. And I definitely learned a lot of things in this nail set, especially when it comes to chrome and layering and things like that. So overall, I would definitely give this nail set a good 7 out of 10. I will say that I think the low score is probably because I just don't really think I like it on my hands that much. Like, I still like the nail set, but I do think that maybe the shape is a little bit off, and also the chrome could be just a little bit better. But overall, I definitely think that this nail set is super unique, so I'm not going to take off too many points. So of course, let me know what you guys think of this nail set in the comments. I would love to hear your feedback below. But as always, I want to say thank you guys so much for tuning in today, and I will see you guys in the next one.